Awesome. Clinton thing's back. Lauren Kalil's back. Oh, Lauren
She
Kalil.
came back to hang out with us. She said she would.
I know.
She's here.
This is twice in a very condensed time.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and thank you.
Yeah, we
thank you
appreciate
so
it.
Oh,
much.
I'm pumped. I had so much fun the first time. I said, hey, let's come back for more.
Anytime.
I mean, the original was because I don't know if you saw, but I found like this. Her name's Ellie Hiller. She is an athlete. She'll be at Syndicate, so you'll see her. But she came on and she was just so much fun, and I was just like, yo, I would love if like I could have Lauren on. We could talk about it. Like it would just like talk about the semis, whatever. So I thought it would be so much fun, and you said yes, and I was like, hey, let's go. Utica
Time to
together
party.
again.
That's it. We need more women to talk anyway. So many men. So many men.
Oh boy, here we go.
A lot of them out there.
Yeah, for sure.
So you've been traveling a ton. You went to South Carolina, then you went to the French Throwdown, and then you just got back from West Coast Classic. So are you just vegging now? Are you watching 87,000 million things on Netflix? Like,
Ooh, I actually just started watching Big Little Lies.
tell us.
It's an old TV show on, what is it on? Maybe HBO. And I was telling people about it this past weekend. They're like, wait, you're just watching that now? That was so like 4 years ago. But I don't really watch that much TV. Normally an episode here or there, or it's playing in the background, but it's something that I've watched a million times, like New Girl, Friends, Game of Thrones. I've watched 4 times every single season. So it's very rare of me to start a new series. But this one I'm liking.
Do you like it when they call you the Khaleesi?
Oh, that was like the best compliment I could ever have. I love that show. And my dogs are my dragons. I mean, it was pretty spot on. Except for I don't hook up with relatives.
So yeah, that was weird, right?
Yeah. I've never done anything weird with my brother. Yeah. No. So
it's an important note to share with everyone.
Yeah. Like we're kind of similar in personality where I'm nice until I'm not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm good, cool, calm, and collected, but you keep poking the bear, and I wake up on the wrong side of the bed and things could get ugly.
A bad day.
Have you always been like that, or do you feel like you've gotten a thicker skin because of being in the news and being in media and being on social media? Like, have you kind of always had it, or do you feel like it's gotten a little bit stronger since you've gotten into a bigger space?
It's definitely gotten stronger. I've never been somebody who, yes, I wear my heart on my sleeve, but it was always like sadness. This sounds super depressing, but like anger has never been a emotion that I embody very often at all. I can probably count like on one hand the amount of times that I have snapped and got genuinely mad. But normally it's just like overwhelming sadness about certain things. And I mean, I used to cry all the time as a kid, and my parents were very adamant about saving the tears for your pillow, and we'll do it behind closed doors. So I've gone to plenty of therapy to manage and
to be as chill as you are now. Like, yeah.
So
French
that's
Throwdown.
kind of where we got. Oh my God, I love Europe.
I was gonna say, hey Jake. Oh, and also let me say before anything, shout out Vindicate. Thank you so much for these bad boys. They're amazing. They're so awesome. Cool. I still love them.
Super fun.
We wear them all the time, which is why they're not on every show because I eventually have to wash them. But Jake Chapman, CrossFit. Hello, lady people. Yes, we do.
People.
We do exist.
We do.
Jake's a good dude. I love Jake. He's awesome. Kenneth, what's up?
I love it.
Yeah.
We love you too, Kenneth, so much.
First time in Europe? Gone before?
I have been to Madrid for the Madrid Championship, Germany for the German Throwdown, and then in the UK for Fit Fest within the past like 2 years. Those are the times that I've been over the pond, but my first time in France, and I wish that the European semifinal was the last one, because then I would have taken, a week to travel or explore, but it truly was. I got there the day before competition started. I saw the inside of a coffee shop while I waited for my Airbnb to get ready. And then other than that, I saw the inside of the venue all weekend, and then the inside of a like a nightclub on the final evening, which I have to say, and I don't know what it is about men in Europe versus American men's, but you go to a club in Europe, and you guys know I love a good early bedtime, but I was trying to stay up until my flight. So I was thinking this through, specifically why I ended up going. But the men in Europe, they like to dance, and they have real moves, where in the US, if I were to go to a club, it couldn't be like, you wouldn't find me there anymore, because men just want to like throw their crotch up in you, and they just want to like grab you and touch you. And in Europe, it's more freeing. They have real style and moves at clubs. I don't know how to explain it.
That's cool though.
They relax a little bit more than us. Like, well, I remember in school it was the 2-step. Like, dudes always did the 2-step. I did the fucking 2-step. Like, I was just 2-stepping back and forth. Like, yeah. Boogie woogie.
We love to boogie and woogie.
Boogie and woogie.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, let me say hello, girl. Judy Reed, what's up? Brandon Lecoq, always love to see your name in the chat. It's awesome. And Madeline Adams, yeah, Tell Vindicate is an awesome shirt.
Well, hold on. Before you bring us into the venue and the actual competition, please explain. I mean, I know you and I were DMing a little bit or whatever, but please explain the whole plane situation. What happened? It was that one, right? Or was it the golf one? I forget.
Honestly, maybe there were issues with everyone. I can't even keep track. But essentially, on my way to France.
Was it France? Was it the one that you just went to the golf? But there was one where it was like, you were like, who is in charge of this plane? Because everything was going wrong or whatever. If you don't remember.
Gosh, it's so hard for me to remember, because I feel like now every single trip,
planes. Yeah, like
every trip there's issues. On my way to Carson, my flight was canceled to LA, and then they rerouted me, so I had to take 2 extra planes to get there. On my way home, they canceled, and I got a notification during the broadcast, and in my head I'm like, I can't deal with it now, so Godspeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but who's in charge of the planes? God,
I'm seeing if I can see. That's okay. Go ahead. I'll find. I'll see if I can
well,
find it.
then I was gonna ask, like, so France was basically you were on the floor, you were doing like athlete interviews after events, right?
Yes.
How second nature is that to you? Like, can you do that in your sleep, or do you need to prep for that? Is that,
Yes. So, I mean, I've been asking questions since I was very, very young. It could be very annoying with the amount of questions that I would ask people, because I've just always been so curious that when it comes to interviewing athletes, yes, I like to do a little bit of research. I would say in Europe, I was probably the least prepared, because I was spending a lot of time or more time preparing for the broadcast the following week. But I mean, a lot of these athletes I communicate with regularly, whether they come on the podcast or I'm seeing them at these events or I'm talking to their coaches. So that to me is very second nature. I don't really get nervous before interviewing athletes. I really just, similar to you two, I try to keep it very conversational, and the more fun that you can have with the athlete or the person you're with, the better it comes across. So for me, that's my bread and butter.
So that's a thing that took like a long time to cultivate, right? Like for us, we just kind of threw stuff on the wall, see if it sticks, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, then we go back and try to figure it out again. Is that kind of like how the being on the floor and asking questions, or you just were naturally good at that? I've had people tell me they've just had ice in their veins the entire time, and
don't get nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, specifically to interview people, I don't think I've ever really gotten nervous at doing that. Um more of I've had to work harder at being concise maybe with the way that I tee up a question, or specifically with play by play. That's I use the skills of being a reporter to help me with calling the action and commentating, but there's more like little nuances that go into that, and making sure that I mean, it just they're two different jobs. They
Yeah, we're
help
gonna get
each
there.
other.
Yeah,
Yeah, they help each other, but they're different, if that makes sense at all.
Trish is here, and when Trish is here, we always have to acknowledge
Yeah,
Trish.
Trish.
Hello, Lauren. You're a doll. Love your work.
Thanks, Trish. Still in the comments. We love to see it.
Wait, what did she just say? You're only allowed to wear a cap on this show if you are gay. True. Very true. That is also yeah.
It's a hat day.
You're right.
It's a hat day in this house today. So
It very much is. Judy Reed, love how Colleen gets giddy talking to fellow upstate New Yorker. Yeah,
I do.
it's the only time she blushes.
I do.
That's just,
I do.
Yeah.
That's it.
Brandon Lecoq, play by play is so much love reading your name. Play by play is so underrated in terms of skill. You right. So that's kind of where I wanted to go, right? You're super comfy in the French Throwdown. The West Coast Classic was your first like play-by-play, right?
So my first play-by-play, I would say as a professional, because that's what I did in college, for our hockey team as well as our football team. And Barkley Dale, we're going to talk about him too, and how he was sliding me little love notes. Not really love
hello,
notes,
Barkley.
but very helpful notes during
I
the
love
broadcast.
love notes. Love notes are amazing. Hello,
They were the best love notes that I could ever ask for. But so in college, doing play-by-play, that was my North Star. That's really what I wanted to do. But because of a bunch of different variables, I ended up going the news route and being a reporter and anchor, interviewing people. But the first time was at Wadapalooza, and then it was kind of play-by-play for the open announcement, but that was mostly like a studio show where there was a ton of like information that we were providing people about the season structure and like who's here. And then the workout, which was I think like 8 minutes long, that was play by play. But this was my first really full event where I was calling the main heats, where at Wadapalooza, Sean and I tag teamed. So I would call the earlier heats and he called the later heats.
Hold on, before you keep we keep talking about the West Coast or whatever, I want to go back to the French for really quick, because going up and talking to an athlete when it's a positive experience, they've had a great showing, they did everything they could, they're happy and whatever, it's got to feel natural to be able to go up and talk to them about that. Have you ever experienced one of those times where you have to approach an athlete that, is defeated, didn't do so well, and you still want to be able to show them? How do you prepare for that? And have you ever done that?
Yonakoski. I knew that we were going to have to talk to him at some point, and it didn't look like he was going to qualify for the games, and we know ultimately he didn't. I knew he was having a rough weekend, possibly dealing with a sickness. A lot of athletes have been sick, actually, the semifinal season. Even Pat Vellner, him and his wife were throwing up for like 7 straight days right before semifinals. Yeah, just flu, bug, something going
You hear
around.
so many stories about athletes getting so sick right before, and I wonder if it's just like the hype, the nerves, and the stress, and then
your immune system's weak at that point.
Or taking how they all take that last week off, like recovery, resting or whatever. And I almost wonder if there's no adrenaline pumping, so then everything they might have been feeling for the build-up weeks or whatever. But you hear a lot of stories like that. For sure.
Yeah. Victor Hoffer was throwing up in between events, didn't know if he could continue, ended up punching his toilet in his hotel room and breaking it because he was so angry about being sick.
Oh,
Oh no,
jeez.
dude. Oh.
And then he was blaming his girlfriend, and I was like, "Oh no, no, no!
No,
Oh, no, you
yeah,
gotta
dude.
take response. You gotta take the heat for that.
You gotta take that L, boy."
Yep, yep. So
Um,
so you knew
yeah,
that you guys wanted to talk to him, and so how did you
yeah,
prepare
and I
for
knew it
that?
was important for the storyline that we got to talk to Yona. What the heck is going on with him? So my technique is I always like to keep it as the what do they call it? The compliment sandwich. It works the same in reporting. I'm not gonna lead with the bad thing because then you're just not Yoda because he's quite kind and I think it would have delivered fine. But you want to start with, okay, you just did great on that event. What was your strategy? Whatever. And then you're digging yourself out of a hole right now. What are some of the ways that you're going to climb up? You kind of add it in the middle and then end with, okay, what are you looking forward to for the next event? What can we expect to see you in the snatch ladder? Something like that.
Yeah.
So I try to ease into it instead of just like, hey, you're really sucking right now. Can you explain to us why?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all about delivery. And if you have some grace and you're delicate about it delivers a little bit nicer.
Have you ever had any athletes that you've wanted to talk to after like a bad event or an upset or, just being really upset and you start to try to approach and either a coach is like, not the time, or you have the athlete that you just gives you that look where it's like, I don't have the energy for this. I can't be nice because I'm so pissed. Have you ever had that kind of experience?
Yes, I've never had anybody be rude to me. I try to be very aware of the situation and how to approach it. If that's going to happen, I'm never going to like bring my camera up with me when I'm approaching the question. And last year at semifinals, when Brooke Wells didn't qualify, but her sister did, I see both of them probably like 10 feet from me. And like Brooke made eye contact with me. And I was like, and she just shook her head no. So
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to interview her, maybe even her and her sister together, which would have been a great interview. I mean, success, but also loss. And,
Yeah.
dealing with that, especially as a twin, you're so connected with this
Yeah.
human. So I think if you just can read the person and delicately ask, so far everybody's been kind. Nobody's told me to go F off. So that's great.
That's cool. That's cool.
Jody Lynn, what's up? Kenneth, you should always chat when you're in here. That's
You always do.
that's the fun part of
You
this
always do.
podcast is you chatting. So we're going into the West Coast Classic, right? When do you find out that you're play-by-play?
When did I find out? It probably was maybe about a month and a half ago, a month to a month and a half ago. But it's one of those things where we're not really encouraged to tell people once we know. CrossFit typically likes to be the first to announce or let those things know. I mean, the day before, or 2 days before, I posted on Instagram and I haven't gotten slapped on the wrist for that. So
You're
I
like,
think
you
that
had a
that's
long
okay.
time to say something. I got to say something
But
now.
well, right. And it's like I want to be transparent with the people that follow me too. And I want people to know, hey, where you can watch this if you want to support. And who knows? But
So is
yeah.
there do they have a thing, right? So they let you know or the decision is made that you're gonna do play-by-play or whatever, and you find out that you're gonna do it. Is there like I imagine it kind of like journalism school. Like, is there like you go practice this, they have a thing set up, there's mentors, there's like people helping you out with how to do play-by-play, that kind of thing. Is there anything like that?
Oh no. If you want that kind of stuff, you seek it out on your own. And after Wadapalooza, I did hire a talent coach. That's what they call them. It
Right.
sounds kind of weird, talent coach. Basically somebody that works in broadcast, works in media, and they essentially watched when I called Wadapalooza play by play and they made notes. Then we watched it together. I mean, it was like this 9-hour training session and going through what are your like the words that you say. a lot that add no value to the broadcast. Okay, we want to write these down. They're your crutch words, essentially, is what we would call them.
So the way that I say like 85 million times in a podcast,
Or
yeah, got it.
like
I'm writing it down right now.
definitely.
I know I do that.
And all of those little things. And for a while I had the sticky notes just on my laptop. Now some of them are so ingrained in my brain, but as soon as you get rid of those crutch words, the funny thing is you then develop new ones. So you just are constantly refining, and most people don't actually enjoy listening to themselves speak. Do you ever go back and listen to your own podcast?
I've talked about this before, and like I don't want
It's hard.
to, but
It's
I
hard
know I
because
have to. But
the way
it
you
is cringe,
the
yeah.
way you hear yourself speak and the way others hear you speak are two different things. So sometimes, at least for me, for a long time, if I heard anybody play my voice out loud, it was like nails on a chalkboard. Now I'm just thinking, oh my God, everybody has to hear this voice. Ugh. And it's almost like you give yourself the ick, but in order to get better, you have to listen to yourself. You have to watch yourself, and you have to get comfortable with that, because it's the only way that you're going to get better and see some of those things. So I had hired him. He worked with me before the Open, after the Open, and then we're going to have another training session after semifinals are all over and go through some of the broadcasts. So it's one of those things where if you want the job and you want to get better, you have to seek your own resources, which I think is fine. When I worked in local TV, we would have consultants that would come in every 6 months to a year that would work with us and do similar training.
Do you apply for something like this? Are you like, hey, CrossFit, if you ever need anything, like would love to help, like and whatever capacity media, like do you apply for something like that?
This is funny. Hold on, wait. I want you to answer this question, Jody Lynn, because
oh, that's funny.
My sister and I have the same voice, and we literally can't stand talking to each other. Texting is best. Me and my sister do too. The sister that's younger than me by like less than 2 years, we sound the exact same, to the point where our kids thought, like, if one of us was talking to the other kid, that it was mom, like if it was from another room.
Oh my God.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. I can't, when she FaceTimes me, I'm like, girl, just text me. Like, I can't do it. But go ahead.
Really
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I don't know where I left off.
Do you apply for like a job like this or whatever? Or is it literally like they just reach out to you and is like, hey, this is an opportunity. Do you want it, kind of thing?
Yeah, honestly, I don't want to say I was blindsided, because that makes it a negative thing, but I had no idea that I was going to get a phone call. And then, no, wait, this time I didn't even get a phone call. I just had an email from their travel agent, essentially like, hey, here's a contract, here's an NDA, here is the hotel you'll stay at, like, look at flights. And it wasn't like,
were you like, hold on, is this real?
Oh, I had to call somebody to verify. I was like, wait, are you sure like they were supposed to send it to me? Like, it says my name, but I didn't get any heads up or anything. This is amazing, but I wasn't expecting this. So yeah, you don't apply for anything like that. And that's what's so interesting, because Big Brother is always watching. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things. Yeah, you definitely don't apply. I honestly, since I've been in local TV, I don't think I've applied for any of the jobs that I've gotten.
They just find
Most
you.
of them I seek out a lot of people too. My email is in a lot of people's inboxes, but that's what you have to do to get these gigs. You have to be hungry for the jobs, and you have to want to work, and you have to want to get better and seek out opportunities. That's my biggest advice that I tell people.
I heard a very cool thing on a podcast yesterday, and I'm just going to shout him out because I thought it was really, like, it was fire. And I do like listening to his shows a lot, is Matt Souza. And he was talking about like, hey, kind of have initiative, know when, like, if you're going to do something, do it, and then go the extra mile and kind of try to think about what your boss might want from you or what your boss might need from you. And it's like, if your boss has to tell you 85,000 times kind of what he wants you to do, and you don't already know it, and you don't know to go a little bit beyond that or do a little bit more than what was asked of you, or I guess try to refine your craft, they're not gonna just offer you this stuff. Like, they're not just gonna say like, "Hey, girl, you've earned it. You wanna try this, you wanna do that, you wanna step up here, you wanna step up there," and then you're like, "Yeah, coach, I'm ready to go." You know what I mean? Like, even in sports, same thing in sports. Like, I know that I need to go do this, 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 and this, and then my coach sees me and is like, "Yeah, fire, you get this now."
Isn't it like the stay ready mentality where it's like you're always ready? You just have to stay ready. Like you said, you did your own research, you reached out to your own coach. You're like, hey, this is really what I want to do. And in order for me to do that, I have to take accountability and initiative to do the things that I need to do to better myself. So it's like that stay ready, like, because you don't know when these phone calls are going to come. You don't know when these opportunities are going to come, but you're ready for them no matter what.
And I think people don't really want to hear it, but you have to prove your value before you get hired. And I feel like there's a lot of backwards thinking that, oh no, once this person hires me, then I'm going to prove it. No, a lot of times you have to do these things for free. You have to seek out the opportunities yourself, and then you can have a whole PowerPoint presentation. I've done this before, explaining why you deserve this opportunity and job with metrics and examples and just proving your value and worth, which it sounds a little cringe when I say it out loud. Oh, we have to prove that we're valuable, because we all think that we're amazing and valuable, and your mom and dad think you're amazing and
you're
valuable.
not wrong.
Yeah.
No,
but
you do. It's not a participation trophy. You have to actually work to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And prove that you will go the extra mile, that you're not just going to need somebody to micromanage you and tell you what to do. Do it before it's asked. Wow. What a concept.
Yeah. Yep.
So what are the nerves like when they're about to go, "Hey, 3, 2, 1, go, you're live." Are there any new nerves that you've never felt before, that you hadn't, like, that you were just like, and that's where the new kind of what the words to, what did you call them? I
The
forget.
crutch words.
Yes, Jody. I was about to say Jody knows what it is, but yeah,
The
crutch words. Yeah.
And Barkley, if you're still with us, you can go ahead and put my crutch words in the comment section, because he was getting on the wagon, reminding me, thank God. But I would say, for whatever reason, even though semifinals has been the biggest event that I've done thus far, I was the least nervous. I was more nervous at the Open, and I was more nervous at Wodapalooza, and probably because they were my first 2 times. But I did not drink any coffee beforehand. And I remember in Wodapalooza, I had my headset on, and I was so nervous to the point that when I'm speaking, my voice is quivering because I want to throw up. I don't know if I'm going to take my headset off and just give it to Sean and tell him, dude, I'm not ready. You do it. Because you have a chip on your shoulder when you haven't really proven yourself yet. I've proven myself as a reporter and as a journalist, and that I think that I'm competent enough to do this role, but really proving that I can do play-by-play, it had yet to be seen. I had the opportunity, but nobody really knew that I could do it. So there was a little bit of betting on the line there. For semifinals, I was able to drink coffee before and still like keep my nerves at bay. But I mean, from the little that I've gone back and listened, if you hear me speak on Saturday versus Sunday, it's like 2 different shows. Just getting those reps under your belt, getting confident, getting comfortable, getting into a flow with Adrian, your color commentator. I mean, there's a lot of chemistry that has to be in play, and there's a lot of body language that has to be read, because if he's describing something, but there's a major play going on the screen and I have to chime in, but I don't want to just cut him off, there's a little bit of reading each other that you have to do.
A little dance.
That's
like
awesome. Is this, wait, hold on. Is this your,
Oh,
Barclay?
yeah. Pull it up.
Is that
Oh, that's my
Is
setup.
that your sticky notes?
Okay,
Like-
so those were the sticky notes that I wrote, but then Barkley, he was our stats guy, and kudos to him because anytime you heard me read off a number, a stat, anything that had to do with math, that was not coming from my brain. That was coming from Barkley and the sticky notes that he was sliding through from behind me.
That's so fire.
I love it. It takes a team. Takes a
Yeah.
freaking team.
It really does. But I kept saying on your screen, athlete to the left. And it's like, well, no freaking duh. People are watching this. Of course, it's on a screen. So I would have my producer in my ear, stop saying on your screen. So then I'm writing a sticky note on your screen, cross it out, like stop saying it. It wasn't until Sunday that it finally clicked in my head. And,
So
it's
this
just those
dance
little
that you
things.
have to do with Adrian, right? Like, is that practiced at all beforehand, or do you guys sit down in a room, kind of chit chat, hang out a little bit? I don't know, have coffee, go get dinner, something, anything like, or is it just, hey, it's work time, we're in a room, we're gonna start, and we're gonna learn how to have this chemistry on this first day?
I think it was good because Adrian and I had a work relationship before this event. I had had him on The Bottom Line when I worked at Morning Chalk Up. He's been on Death by a couple of times, and we've just been in the same space. So we at least had that. He also did the open with me. He was the reporter. So a different role, but still, it wasn't as if neither of us knew each other and knew each other. So that always helps too. But the way that we kind of structure the shows before the event takes place is okay, what athletes are we going to potentially highlight? Who's on the cut line? Who potentially is going to win this workout? Who needs the points in order to get to the final heat? So we're communicating about some of the storylines beforehand. But when 3, 2, 1, go, I mean, nobody can really predict what's going to happen on the floor. So it is a lot of just reading body language and figuring out the dance as you go with a couple of things planned ahead of time, or at least like as a safety net.
And you feel like having that work relationship before really helped you guys kind of figure it out a little bit faster than if it was somebody that you had never met before, and then you've never had that kind of, work relationship with before.
Yeah, and a lot of it's also personality because I mean, there's people in the space that I know that we have a fine working relationship, but our personalities on air just they don't serve either person. Um so finding and it's hard for CrossFit too to pair people up that have good chemistry because you don't really know until you've done it.
Mhm.
Where it would have totally sucked if Adrian and I like did, and again, maybe I have no idea what people think because I don't go back and read the YouTube comments, but maybe people think we had no chemistry, but it felt very natural to me. And that I think made both of us better. That if there was awkwardness or if he didn't bring the hype the way that I was bringing the hype, it could have felt a little off, if
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Here's this. I always have to get Kenneth, and this is just fun. I had to do a graduation speech once. My wife was in the room. I had to actively not look at her, otherwise I would burst out laughing. Is there someone like that for you in the booth? I mean, I'd have to actively not look at my wife either.
There's not someone this hasn't happened with CrossFit, but I will never forget when I was working at my local news station and my meteorologist, she was one of my best friends. So like we would get into this little giddy giggles. And when she starts, then I start. And when I start, she starts. And then there's no recovering. There is no
Yep.
recovering from it. And we were outside on the weather deck, which was just right outside of the the studio, doing a little weather hit, and all of a sudden this squirrel grabs a full piece of pizza and is eating
And you can't stop.
and I can't stop laughing. And then I go back into the studio and I tell my producer, I like open up my mic so on air doesn't hear me, but he does. And I was like, you cannot have Lydia come back in the studio until we reach commercial, because if I see her, I'm
gonna
just
die.
going to start laughing.
Yeah.
And I won't be able to read this story about a car explosion without laughing.
Not
And then
something to
people are
laugh
going to
about.
cancel me.
Yeah,
And
that's
we
not
can't
good.
have that. So you got to keep her outside until we get to commercial.
So is there a little like so Adrian, you said that there's this dance with him. So if
Mhm.
if he sees that you might want to cut in and start talking, does he like grab your arm and no, don't, not yet? Or does he like shake his head or anything to you know what I mean?
Like a cue.
We do.
Kind of.
Yeah, so we have heat sheets, and sometimes I would hold it up and I would just point at an athlete and point at the screen, and that's how he knows like I'm about to talk about this person. Or I mean, he also has eyes and he's very he's very aware of what's going on and what his role is and what my role is, which is also incredibly helpful, that he's going to finish his thought. He knows a race is happening on the floor and the play-by-play person is supposed to talk about that. So that's where I would chime in.
That's cool though.
That's awesome.
It's got to feel like a lot though. It's got to feel like it's a lot to navigate the dance with him, your own thoughts, who's speaking to you, the producer, Barkley's slipping you love notes, what's going on the floor. Like at any moment were you like so overwhelmed that like you froze for a second, or even for a second thought like this is too much for me?
No, I've never thought that it's too much. It is overwhelming, and figuring out a structure, like going back to the picture that you pulled up full, it's taken me a couple times, and I might even still adjust what my structure is, having my laptop and it has all of these athlete bios and screens open. I also have a printed out heat sheet and I'm making little notes next to people. I also have all of my sticky notes, and just finding a way that the information I need is easily accessible, but it's not too much, because there's so much information out there. But my job is to talk about the races, talk about the most compelling moments, and really educate the viewer of what's happening. If there's 2 minutes that they're spending on the rower, not much of playing action to talk about. So this is an opportunity to storytell. Hey, Hattie Canyo, she trains half of the year in Bali. Those are the moments that you want to slide in those little details. But not all of these athletes I recognize from what they look like. So there are moments that I'm saying who's crossing the finish line. I see what lane they're in and I'll say in lane 7, and you'll hear almost a pause. And then I'm trying to quickly look what their name is. And that pause is me just confirming what their name is and that I get the right athlete. Yeah. So I try to give myself a little bit of time to finish the sentence. So if these sentences aren't like normal speech where talk, 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 and it's talk, pause, talk again, that's me just looking at my notes.
Just for fun.
Ooh. I like fun.
Just for fun. Our last name is written at the top of the screen or whatever. Could just say our last name normally as if we were just chilling, talking, hanging out, having a good time.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Glinton.
Just say it.
Glinton.
Glinton. That's how I say my last
Glinton,
name.
like Clinton, like Colton.
Please.
Like Glinton.
If you said my last name, Glinton,
I wouldn't answer you.
I would not answer you.
I would not answer.
Thanks, ladies. I appreciate it.
I would not answer that. I would not answer that.
Like I don't know if it's a New York thing, an upstate thing. I don't know if
it's a regional thing is what I've been told.
Yeah, I think so too. Cause I thought about it and then I thought about it some more and I've had conversations about it and I'm like, okay, sure, fine. Research, whatever. And then I'm like, if I say my own last name, Glinton.
That's it.
That's
if somebody were to tell me that they're from Clinton, New York, I would look at them and say, "Oh, they're so pretentious.
You're not from here. Yeah.
Why are you saying it like that?" Clinton.
Jody Lynn,
Clinton. No, it's Clinton.
What do you want my last name again? When I say my last name, I like literally, and Sevon says my last name all the time. Garrett Glinton.
Clinton.
Glinton.
That's it.
It might just be regional. Like it's fair.
I think so.
I think JR sent me a message to, was it JR? He responded and he was like, "Oh, I say Colton's name the same way that you do, and I've
Colton.
talked to him about it and he is not offended." And I was like, if the athlete's not offended and the athlete is okay, then that's all I really care about.
Yeah.
And I don't even know, like I was just thinking about it just because our last name kind of has that same
Yeah.
the way that it goes.
Mhm.
And I was like, when I say it, or when people at like Starbucks ask me for my name, you know what I mean? Like even there's people that I was in the army, people only called me by my last name. Nobody
Mhm.
called me Glinton.
No.
Like
That sounds so wrong.
it's like I'm a ton of Glenn.
A ton-
Like I
Well-
don't even understand. Like if
And
you want
now-
to say Merton's a 10, he's a 10. I love him. He's hot. I'll take it. You know what I mean? Cole's a 10.
Cole's
He's
a
hot.
Cole's a 10.
He is a 10. My man is a 10 all day, every day. Love the dude. But like that's not, I don't know. It's regional. I feel like it's regional, but okay.
It is, and I know that I should pronounce all my T's as a broadcaster. My now like joke to myself is I was getting so
Shut up,
hyped
Dennis.
for Colton that all the T's just dropped. It was my hype factor. That's really what it was. So we're just gonna leave it there.
But that's also the thing too. I mean, everything is happening so fast. So
And you just said all of the conversation that you're having in split seconds.
yeah.
You're having Barclays love notes. You have screens up.
And
You
we
have,
call him that now.
and I will always say it.
I
There will
always
never be
say
a
that
time
now,
where I
yeah.
don't say that. So you'll have Barclay, and I'll invite him on the show and call it Barclays love notes.
Yeah.
But like you have that, and then you
Great.
have the sticky notes on the window. Then you have your laptops. You have Adrian talking. You have people in your ear talking, right?
Mhm.
There's so much going on.
I mean, and if you can't get hype for something like Olivia's, world record setting.
Oh my God. That was insulting to everybody else.
I really tried to give Brian Friend credit for saying
He
that
was close.
3:15, 3:30, but they said I couldn't give it to him because it was 40 seconds off.
I mean, it was
But I was
close,
like, hey,
though.
give him some love a little bit for the
Oh,
3, at
that's
least
funny.
the number 3. But
Mhm.
I mean, kudos to her. You fall in love with these athletes. You just do. You can't help
Yeah.
it. And you get excited and stuff happens. Jody Lynn, Lauren, I want to style your ponytail in a big fishtail. Can you choose your own hairstyle for the broadcast? Just curious.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's a
You can
fishtail.
absolutely do that.
It's a big braid.
It's
It's a big braid.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of braid. Yeah.
perfect. Hit me up, slide me a DM, and we'll have hair and makeup together, baby.
Well,
you could just tell exactly what kind of lesbian I am by that comment. Thank you, Jody Lynn. I appreciate you. You're fantastic.
well, obviously you took to your stories the other day and felt a need to kind of explain and tell your story and in the way that you wanted to. What made you do that? What made you feel like you were like, I'm going to say what I need to say about this whole situation?
Yeah, it's one of those things where, again, I don't read the comments, but somebody had commented on my actual page. And then just for funsy, I go and I open YouTube and I see like a whole slew of them. And then I was like, okay, exit. We don't need any more of this. This is not productive to getting better. And if it is, there's like 5 people on one hand, my talent coach included, that are going to give me the correct feedback. But it was just like, I just had a long night of sleep. I'm feeling like myself again. I wasn't.
We're about to match
upset about
energies
it?
right now.
Yeah,
We're about
energy
to match
for energy. Let's go. I've got a lot of sleep. I've had some sleep.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things. And I know that Colton has such a strong following and fan base. And I was just like, you know what, guys? I didn't pronounce his T's. And nobody else in the whole region of
Upstate New York would have done it.
upstate New
But it's
York,
not like you
etc.
didn't disrespect. It's not like you were trying to disrespect him or any of that stuff. It's just it's kind of the way we talk. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I got it. I understood
Accent.
it.
Everybody has an accent. They, you know,
Her
pronounce.
accent was horrible until she got down here. She couldn't even say my name. She kept saying Gayrit.
No,
And I was like, I'm not
and tell
gay.
the truth though.
Like, no, I am gay. But like,
but
you
tell
know,
the truth though. So I'm saying your name for how many
Ooh.
years before you actually corrected
Did you
me?
not correct her? Oh,
I
come
didn't.
on.
I didn't.
That
And
doesn't help.
She chose to correct me right before we had our son because our son is named after her. She's like, you probably should say his name correctly. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, you've been saying my name wrong for a very long time. I was like, and you didn't fix it? You didn't tell me how to say it?
Yeah, it's funny.
But that's also like Tola. I'm trying to think of the correct way to say versus how we've all said it.
No, Sean
Tola-
fixed it at one point.
Yes.
I
And
was
now
saying
everybody
it-
thinks Sean's wrong. And Sean is right
No.
because Tola finally corrected him.
It's not.
I said it.
Mauritano,
I
is
said it the Brazilian
No, it's
way.
Moroccanio.
It's
Moroccanio,
Moroccanio, and I
yeah.
was
But for
saying
years,
it Moroccanio.
everybody has said it
Yeah.
wrong, and he never corrected anybody. So, and it's the same thing with
Yeah.
Justin Medeiros.
Yeah.
For years, we were saying Medeiros. His family says no, it's Medeiros. So now everybody thinks we're wrong when we say that. It's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
dear Lord.
I wanted to circle back and ask you because you were talking about like criticism and whatnot, and I don't want to keep you too long because I know you have to like jump on another plane. Or no, are you driving?
No,
you saying-
no, I'll fly.
You know, I was like, you're not driving,
Yeah.
are you? Because I'll let you go right now.
Yeah. No, I've
um,
already showered, washed my hair, and did my face routine.
Oh, there you go. She's gonna
Yeah.
get off this and go curl up in bed and try to
There you
fall
go.
asleep in the next hour.
For sure.
Pretty much.
Us two girls.
Us
okay.
too. Yeah.
I love it.
Everything is done except.
So the criticism you say you have about 5 people that you actually take like criticism from and that's okay. Are any of them actually from CrossFit? Like HQ CrossFit? Do they pay attention to what you do? Do they have feedback for you? Do they?
No, because they're all broadcast people. Because CrossFit HQ, if they were to give me feedback, I absolutely would listen. They're the ones contracting me out to hire, and if I want the job and they were to give me feedback, I mean that certainly holds weight. But when it comes to the people who I trust, it's people who are either doing the same job as me and actually understand what goes into it, or it's people who work in the broadcast media space and they've worked with other people that are in my position, and just people that have my best interests and actually want me to get better and have the credentials to make corrections, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Of
For
course.
sure.
And like Chase Ingram, after Wadapalooza, he texted me. He said, "Great job." And I was like, "Thank you. Can you give me feedback?" He
Mhm.
didn't give me unsolicited advice. He waited until I asked, and then he gave me great things that my talent coach said the same corrections. So to me, that holds value.
That's fire. And when you have people that I have the same thing, I wouldn't know how to do 99% to run this podcast at all, to be able to bring stuff up to any of that I've gotten any better at, except for the people that are just nice enough that when I ask a question, will be like, here's how I do it. And if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, hit me back and I'll give you something else and it's just those nice people that are like, here, you might want to try this. You know,
Yeah.
and
Do you feel that constructive criticism and feedback are the same thing?
I've never thought of that constructive criticism.
Because
and
obviously,
feedback.
most time when we hear criticism, it's usually coming from a negative place. So people like to say it's not criticism because it's constructive criticism because it's coming from a good place. But feedback is neutral,
a better word.
and people
To
can
people.
respond better to feedback. And if you take feedback in a way, that's usually when you can learn from it, and it's not personal. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. To me, it all just depends who it's coming from.
Mm.
The comment section, no, that's not it for me.
Yeah.
And I was grateful because there were some people that DM'd me that were friends with Hattie Canyo. And the first day I was calling her Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
They were very kind. And Tita, they did the sandwich for me. Hey, you're doing a great job in the broadcast. Oh, by the way, this is how she pronounces her name. Like, love watching you. And I was like,
Yeah.
I
That's
see what you
great.
did there, and it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the
Because
best
the
way
delivery.
yeah, that's the best way
And
to
then,
actually be able to receive what's being said versus coming from a place
yeah.
like you fucking
And
suck.
then we're sending voice notes, and I'm confirming that I'm saying it the right way now. And that to me is helpful because it's now I can go into day 2 or day 3 at that point, and I can make the correction. But if people are going to tell me something after the fact in a mean way that's not helpful, well, you're just being a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not trying to help anybody. You're
You're
just
telling me after
No.
the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just trying to poke the bear.
Yep.
And also, I just want to touch on this too, how accessible you actually are. Like if somebody wanted to reach
Yeah.
out to you,
Oh, I check my DMs many times throughout the day. Too many times. Boundaries, but we're still working on that.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's easy to just be like her friends did. Hey, listen,
Yeah.
you know, just to want to give you a heads up, like this is how you actually say her name. Great job. Like, let us know if you need anything else. Like it's that simple. It doesn't have to be this huge. That's also like what the negative thing about social media. Social media is so good in so many ways, but it's such a pain in the ass in so many other ways. And I don't remember if I asked you this on the last time that we talked or whatever. What are your tools that you use, or what is the ways that you deal with all of the negativity or the comment section that you're just like, whatever? Like how do you deal with that? How do you move through that kind of stuff? Because it's everywhere, no matter what you do.
Yeah, I would say on my personal page, most people are supportive and kind and not necessarily leaving bad or mean comments. It's that stuff normally happens on other people's accounts that is somehow then about me, but I have them muted or restricted because I don't what's the value in me seeing that? Is it helpful? Is it helping me move the needle personally or professionally? And if the answer is no, then I can't waste the energy or the headspace with it.
Yeah.
All right, we've gotten through this fun. Wanted to address it because I thought it was funny just because of our last name. But what's the most ridiculous thing that happened to you this weekend? Was it because I can't imagine like you're play by play, you're live, you have to try to eat, you have to go to the bathroom, you have to like what's the most ridiculous thing that's happened to you this
All right. I'm going to preface this as if you are not a woman, you might want to tune us out. If you're not in a very serious relationship and like with a female and knowing what happens to your body, you might want to tune out. If you didn't grow up with sisters, you might want to tune out because this is Lauren's TMI talk here.
I'm about
Kenneth says, "Oh boy, buckle up."
Unfiltered. Let's go.
Listen, Kenneth, I told you I was going to bring you the power this weekend or this week. I told you. This was
just don't clip this one for Instagram. People need to be here to watch.
Yeah,
if they want it, they have to watch the whole thing.
Yep, we won't. We will not.
They have to be a loyal viewer.
That's it.
Okay, so right before West Coast Classic, Aunt Flo decides to arrive.
Doesn't she
and
always have
she
great timing?
comes in guns a-blazing. Just like, okay, all right, we're going to need to schedule some bathroom breaks, and this is going to be tough, but we're going to make it work. Everything's fine. So on the last day of competition, there was one long break, but then there really wasn't any breaks. And I say that even though we weren't on air for the first 2 heats, during that time, I'm updating athlete bios, I'm making notes in my rosters, I'm doing all of this work on my computer on the floor. So of course, right before the snatch event, I hadn't really made time to go to the bathroom. And if anybody watched what Colton Mertens did, it was freaking unbelievable with the touch and
Touch and
go.
go.
Yeah.
So for me, when I do play-by-play, I want to stand the whole time because I noticed in Wadapalooza when I would sit, I just wasn't bringing the same energy. I was getting very flat. So I really should have used the bathroom before this because I hadn't changed my tampon in quite some time. And I'm standing up. I see what Colton Mertens does, and I'm basically yelling the call. And oh my God, can you believe this? And I feel my tampon slip out of me into my, lucky for me, red shorts. And in a split second, I'm like, if I calm down, we will avoid this. But I am
We're
here.
here.
calm
We
down.
are not
Yeah.
here. We are
we have-
here.
We have made it this far. We are not backing down.
We're all
That
in.
is-
We are all
That's
in
it.
right now.
No turning
That
back.
is a later Lauren problem. A later Lauren problem because we're going to call this and we are going to bring the hype and we're going to bring the enthusiasm because
Oh
God
my-
damn it, I've never seen this before. Especially the look on Brent Fikowski's face like he had seen a
What?
ghost
Yeah,
just
for
passed
sure.
him in the night.
Yep.
And then I'm like, okay, well,
Now
when
what?
can I go to the bathroom
Yeah.
now? We're just gonna
Been there.
we're just gonna
Been there.
chill. So yeah.
You're
This
gonna
is
squeeze my
what-
So
thighs
then-
together real tight.
So then, when did you go to the bathroom?
at that
You have to
point,
wait.
was that the final? Yeah, that was the final heat. So I was able to go after that.
Oh, okay.
But I
Time
mean, by the
stretching
time you
around
take
the
off,
waist and carry on. Yes, that's a
yeah,
Band-Aid.
Did you
yeah.
have
But it was
your-
Carson. What sweatshirt was she gonna have?
No, did you have your long
Oh, yeah.
jersey on? Like your striped
No.
jersey with that
But-
that
no.
wasn't the day.
No, I was in a crop top, honey,
Oh, fantastic.
but red shorts nonetheless. Nobody
Okay.
knows.
Good job, though. That was
Okay,
fire.
that was good. That was good. Not
That's
a
fire.
white, not a
But-
white pants or a white short kind of day.
N-
Thank God.
Oh, I texted my sister after and I was like, you are not going to believe this. I can't make this shit up. I can't. And I
Dude,
can't tell Adrian what just happened to
Oh.
me because like,
Can you imagine? He'd be like, "What?"
He'd be You'd be like, really, girl? That's what we're gonna talk about.
I
right
can't tell if Barkley is still here. I can't tell him because I need to protect that working relationship right now. So I'm going to stand here and suffer in silence until I can go to the bathroom.
now? Oh my
Dude.
gosh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh man.
Well, I had one of
Yeah.
those back
it
in
happens.
my competition days because you can't wear underwear underneath your stockings. And I was
Yep.
young.
Oh,
This
I
is-
remember.
This is when I first got it. So I had never tried a tampon yet. So I lined my stockings with pads because I couldn't
Yes,
wear it.
I used to do that too.
So I lined my stockings on the inside with pads, but I had a white costume,
Oh,
the bloomers, the
R.I.P.
white bloomers, the white
Oh, yeah.
dress, and I bled through everything on stage. Got out, was completely embarrassed, but I was like, "Well, we did it."
What can you
And there
do?
was one
What can
part.
you do?
It was so bad. There
Nothing.
was one part where I had to do a shoulder roll
Absolutely nothing.
in the front of the screen, in the front of the stage, like one leg over. I'm like,
Yeah.
they saw
Oh,
the
I remember
whole
that
thing.
move.
They saw the whole thing.
Y'all are
So-
lucky because I didn't learn how to use a tampon until my freshman year in college, and that was just the most.
Oh, after that incident, I learned how to.
No,
to
yeah,
use
I
a
didn't have to.
tampon.
But also,
So that's
pads are awful. They're
They're
awful
awful.
and disgusting and horrible.
terrible. Who wants this? I'm sorry. This
Nobody wants
has
to
turned
sit
into
in
a
that.
TMI show.
I don't
But
know,
who
it's
wants to sit in their own blood? That is absolutely ratchet. We're
Mhm.
not doing that.
And
So
as a
I
kid, you have to
went
sleep in it too. Did you?
Oh.
ever- you literally have to put pads on to sleep at night.
Mhm.
Like,
I know.
and also, girl, I lived through cardboard applicators. So
Me too.
Oh, so did I.
Oh, you did
So
too.
did
Okay. I was like, because that's the struggle.
I was a very
yes,
early
it's just crazy
bloomer.
to be a woman.
Shit's crazy. Shit's crazy,
Mhm.
man. I was an early bloomer. I think I was only 10 when I went through puberty. So I learned how to use tampons pretty early. And I would train people at dance competitions. I would give them a mirror. And I'm like, you're going to figure it out. Here's a mirror. It's going to help
Yo,
guide
put up
you
on
on
the
where to
toilet
put
bowl,
it.
right?
And
Well, that's
yeah,
on the toilet
yeah.
bowl. That's how you start.
Nope. I had to teach myself in school.
Gross. My grandma
Oh.
taught me.
And so I kept raising my hand. I have to go to the
My
bathroom.
grandma taught me, poor thing. I love her to death. She is the greatest lady on the planet. And the poor thing was in the bathroom with me trying to explain it to me when I was like 14, 15. I was like, nope, this sucks. And I didn't figure it out till I was a freshman on a Division I basketball team. And I was like, I can't wear pads anymore.
Nope.
So
Figured it out on my own in school. I kept raising my hand. I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. My teacher's like, you just went. I'm like, I have to go to
Yeah, just let me.
the bathroom. And it was like the last period of the day or whatever. And I probably went like 6 times until I figured it out. I was like, it is so uncomfortable. It's not put in the right way.
Oh, it's terrible. It's
dude, that
oh.
dry, scratchy feeling, horrible.
Ugh.
It's the worst, awful fucking thing.
Well, thank God they got their shit together and upgraded.
Yes, only on gluten things because there's only
Listen,
so much dick I can talk about, and I
For
just did it on
real,
Monday for
talked
like 2
about it
hours.
For 2 hours, 2 days ago. So
Everybody relax. It's just human nature.
No, it's a good time.
I know.
We
But
gotta
that-
laugh
but-
about
but
it.
That's the reels. Like you're going through play-by-play. You have all kinds of hours. You can't miss anything. It's not like you can be like, hey, excuse me, can you mute my mic? I have to.
Can you
go.
pause the show?
Yeah, my
Can you
period's
pause?
here.
Tell
Like,
everybody to stop in their lanes. Just wait for me, and
hold
I'll
on,
be back.
hold
Like,
on, Colton. Hold on. Like,
Yeah.
don't do it yet.
Pause.
Pause.
right there, right at the
We're
head.
gonna have a
Just hold it right there.
situation.
Oh my gosh. All right, girls. So what's next? Where are we going next? What are we doing next?
Ooh.
What's next?
I am going to Knoxville next for East, but I'll just be doing stuff for Talking Leap Fitness. So not on the broadcast this week. It will be Sean Woodland, Adrian Conway, and then Bella Martin on the floor doing sideline. And then after that, I have a couple tactical games events that I'll do
nice.
before the CrossFit games. And
shit.
we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I was gonna
Everything's
say,
up in
what's
the
it
air.
look right now? CrossFit Games, the floor stuff, like interviewing athletes, like that's what you're looking forward to over there.
I mean, I would love to do play-by-play, but there's
Wanna
only
get
so
more.
many seats open, and I
Yeah.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
I hear you.
who knows? But I'll be there regardless in some capacity. I already have my flights booked, and
There you go.
Well, hey, give my girl Ellie Hiller some love at Syndicate when you go down
Hell
there.
yeah.
And because I really wish I could be down there.
I've been
I
trying
know.
to.
I wish.
I've been trying to.
Come
get her
on,
to
last
go.
minute
I
trip.
would
Book it
love
now.
to, dude. I'm in the Hamptons. I can't. This is when my deli
Oh,
when we thrive. I got to make this
Unfortunately,
money
this
because
is-
then the rich people leave in November, and then you got to wait.
Yeah.
Until, you know what I'm saying?
that's fair. That's
they
fair.
need to switch up the timeline a little bit
Yeah,
because
I
all of the
know.
good shit happens in the summer, which obviously we understand.
Are you going to
but-
Rogue? Because that's a bucket list thing now that it's in Ireland that I would love to freaking do.
Are you going to Broke?
Yes, I have some things planned.
Okay.
TBD.
All right.
Awesome.
Oh, so are we
yeah.
gonna go to Ireland, babe? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, it's
It's in Scotland. but-
Scotland.
Are we
Sorry,
going
sorry,
to
sorry.
Scotland?
I don't. I
We're gonna go
really,
visit Jake.
I really,
too?
You
yeah.
do golf?
Golf? No.
No, but I want to. I'm getting to that age now where golf looks really fun for me.
No.
It's a lot of walking, talking, just a few good power shots, pause, and then some.
We'll
like,
never play 18, only play 9.
Yeah, look.
I love golf, but I have no interest in playing 18. That's just dragging it out. 9 is the perfect amount to socialize with friends, to hit a couple balls, feel good about yourself for a few holes, feel shitty for the other, and by 9 holes, you're good.
I don't know. I might have to.
I can't hang with golf. Sorry, guys.
We'll talk offline because
I can't. I can't
talk
hang
offline.
with golf.
That's fine.
I have a client.
We
that
can be
I
a
train.
3-person team in Scotland. That's like the birthplace of golf. That's why it's a bucket list thing.
Oh.
I don't care where I play.
'Cause
I just want to play somewhere.
I like mini golf.
I'm not being. I might be. The chat can tell me if I'm being dumb right now, but I really want to go see Edinburgh. Like I want to see Edinburgh Castle, and that's Scotland. So I love that history and whatnot. So I really do want.
Yeah, I don't think that's dumb. I think that's fun.
No, I just didn't know if I had the wrong country for a second. You messed me up with the Ireland, and I was like, wait, no, I just
Wait,
said
where
it
are we
wrong.
going?
Yeah,
Where are we going?
but yeah,
All right. So
So
there's
cool.
a possibility that we might go.
Okay, good. Oh, we can plan this.
Maybe. I don't know.
Look
Let's
at
see.
her looking at me like, please, can we really go? Please. I like, yeah, I'm thinking about
Make it
it.
happen. We'll do some collab stuff together on the grounds, and we'll have so
That'll
much
be
fun.
That'll be fun.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, okay, Kenneth. Fine. Yeah, golf
that
is
is
a good
true.
time. Don't need to be
You don't need to
decent
be
at
good.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are you gonna come? You should come too, Kenneth. Pause. Yeah, guys. Thanks. I appreciate this. This was super fun. It's always good to see you, girl.
I
Like it
know.
really is. It's a good time every time we hang out. That's
It's
fun.
so great hanging out with both of you. This is always fun.
It's always
This
good
is
to
like
catch up.
chill time.
I know, right? Nice and easy. Nice and easy.
conversation.
So, all right, guys. Thanks
All
so
right.
much.
Love all you guys. Glinton things. See you for the weekend. We're gonna have Ellie Hiller's gonna pop on. Jethro's gonna pop on throughout the events to let us know how horrible the events feel. And Jethro is gonna tell us how to train to be able to do those events, even though I have no intention of doing that. So it'll be a
we're
great
essentially
time.
gonna have our very first like athlete check-in on the ground. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, it'll be the
Ellie's
first-
gonna be cool.
So we're gonna mess up a million times. My bad if I say like weird stuff. I'm trying, guys.
Say on the screen. That's
Yeah.
the one that we have to put up there.
Disclaimer. All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you
Glenn,
next
thanks.
time. Bye.
Deuces.